Janice Gaunt joins us. She's a professional counselor, a relationship expert, the author of the just-released book, Prince Charming is Dead or in Rehab, A Guide to Dating in the Real World. It turns out that a lot of folks, one of the biggest conflicts they have is sleeping arrangements. Even though you've been together for a long time,
right.
Getting together and sleeping and trying to make that work can be difficult. How difficult is it to change your life and move in with somebody else? You're now living with them, sleeping in the same bed, especially when you've been living by yourself for a long time.
Yeah, it's difficult. A bunch of different changes. It is. It's very difficult because people are used to doing things their way, and they're maybe used to sharing a bed with no one, and they like sleeping the way they want to sleep and in the hours that they want to sleep. So it takes a lot of adjustment when people decide that they're going to live with a partner, and then they are establishing a whole new pattern of sleep. And so one of the things that make it difficult is because people have attachment to different items when they sleep, maybe a pillow, a certain pillowcase, a teddy bear, whatever that is. And whenever they start to sleep with a partner or they get married or find somebody that they are, sleeping with and having sex with, they want to still maintain their attachment to this particular object because it has so much history to them. And what that does is it triggers the idea of feeling safe and feeling secure.
It's funny because I've heard more stories from married friends or people who are living together that they say one of the biggest arguments they have is trying to get a good night's sleep, to the point where a lot of them have just said, I'll tell you what, let's sleep in separate beds. They're pulling the
That's
Rob
true.
and Laura Petrie thing.
Yes, that really is. That's true. Because some people maybe don't want a big old teddy bear in the bed with them. I'll tell you an interesting story. My daughter, and I asked my daughter, I said, I told her I was going to do this interview, and I said, can I talk about you? And she said, yes, it's fine. You can even use my name. Because when she got married, she took her blankets, her little blankies, on the honeymoon, and she's 39 years old now, and she still sleeps with those blankies. And they're tattered. They're like strings, and so it almost looks like a homemade rope, and she loves those blankies. And she was really funny. She said, you can tell them anything because there is no shame in my blanket game.
Well, I can understand that, something that you've been comfortable with your entire life. Now, there is a list, actually. I've been looking at this poll, some complaints: top sleep disruptor, the partner steals the covers, partner wakes up tossing and turning, sleeps with a television on, snores. See, the snores would be the one that would drive me crazy, or sleeps with the lights on.
Right. Well, and all of those things may bring one person comfort and the other person literally can't sleep. There's no way I could sleep in the bed with somebody that was snoring really loudly, or anybody that wanted the lights on, and I think that what we do, it starts early on. It actually starts in the womb when the developing child is learning attachment through the parents' voices, and then once the child's born, there are little objects that the baby gets attached to, whether it's a pacifier or a teddy bear, and that gives the child starting out a feeling of safety and attachment. And having the ability to attach is really important, because that, in order to have positive relationships, you have to be able to have an attachment. And there's such a thing, because there are some people who have a very difficult time, and they develop an attachment disorder. So, when we think about these little funky objects that people sleep with, or their habits or whatever, we could get real irritable with someone who has a habit like that. But when you think about it, that it brings that person comfort, then you're going to have to negotiate that in some way.
So it's all about negotiation. If you're having these types of problems and it's causing disruption, you got to work with whoever it is.
You really do. And that's one of the key things with in marriage or in dating, is that we've got to be able to ask for what we want in our relationship, because people can't read our minds. And so if that would have to be negotiated.
I would imagine that that's one of the biggest adjustments that people make when they first do get married and they first do start living together, is because you're used to sleeping alone. You're used to being by yourself. And boy, that's nothing I want to give up. I want to sleep. That's what I want more than anything.
Oh, my gosh. And isn't that the truth? Because sleep is one of our most important things that we have, because it gives us the whole energy. It affects our brains, it affects our bodies, it affects illnesses. We have got to get good sleep. And now I think they recommend, 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night.
The book is called Prince Charming is Dead or in Rehab, A Guide to Dating in the Real World. This is Janice Gaunt, a licensed professional counselor. Janice, you've been a delight. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Call me anytime.